Hey everyone, a Complex back with another video, and today we're going to talk about companions and understanding the companion system in SWTOR. Why? Because I didn't understand it at all to begin with, and I've come to realize that it's not at all what I thought it was. So I wanted to deep dive into it with you today in case you are having any trouble with it, or maybe you're somebody that played way back in the day and now you're coming back and you haven't played since the 4.0 update, because a lot of stuff changed with that. So I want to chat with you guys about it, and we'll just kind of go into understanding how companions actually work in this game, how to get conversations with them, what influence means, all that good stuff. So then that way you don't pull a complex and waste a ton of time and resources trying to up somebody's influence level because it didn't actually do what you wanted it to do, kind of thing. So let's just dive into it. The first thing that I want to chat with you guys about is the word influence. So if you open up your companion screen, which the shortcut for it is N on the keyboard, you will see that you pull up a kind of like a sheet, and it'll tell you like what your influence is. It'll also give you like a little brief description on the character, or companion rather, and it'll allow you to summon them or summon somebody else. And it'll also allow you to change whether or not they are DPS, tank, or a healer, which is really nice. So that's kind of all located within that. But you'll notice that it says influence level. It's not affinity. It's not approval or anything like that. It is literally influence. So you want to think of it as whether or not somebody likes or dislikes something you say, you are still having an influence over them. You're influencing how they feel about you. So that's exactly what the influence level means, and that's what the system is. So you can literally have somebody at max influence, which is level 50, and they can hate your guts kind of thing. So you can have people that hate you, but you've got max influence. And what influence does as far as the game is concerned is it just ups how powerful they are. So somebody that is a 50 on the influence scale is going to do a lot more damage and be a lot better of a companion in that regard than somebody who, say, a level 5. So I would suggest working on your favorite characters first. So anybody that you know that you're going to be traveling with a lot would be the person that I would work on their influence on ASAP. So for me, it's generally the love interest, because I just like traveling with them. It feels kind of cool. I like the way that works with stories most of the time. So for me, I'm always giving them the gifts. I'm taking them everywhere for approval or disapproval and all this other good stuff, because yes, disapproval does also up your influence, not by a lot by comparison, but it still does give you something. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, Complex, how the heck do I get all these awesome conversations with my companion? How do I get my love interest to profess their undying love to me? Well, I got you covered. Here's the thing. Your conversations with companions are actually tied to the story progression, which is something that I didn't know, and which is why I wasted a lot of time building influence with people I didn't really want to travel with. And that's because you don't actually have to worry about what their influence level is to trigger the conversation. It is literally just tied to wherever you've progressed in your class story. So if you're somebody that is worried that your influence level isn't high enough, don't even worry about it. It'll all happen naturally. If you are trying to trigger a romance with a certain person, you want to make sure that you are picking that flirt option, because that is how they will know that you are interested. So that is what you want to do. You just want to keep playing your class story. By the time you end your class story, theoretically, all companion conversations should pretty much have come to an end, and you should have completed everybody's story within that. So that is something to be aware of. You want to make sure that you are checking and coming back to your ship occasionally, so then that way you are talking to everybody and getting all those conversations in a nice pace. Otherwise, sometimes it builds up. Like if you're gone for a long time and 6 or 7 conversations with a few different people should have triggered by then, it can feel like a lot at once. So I do like to try to space it out as much as possible. You do get some companions though that like right away have a whole bunch of conversations. I'm like Andronicus for the Sith Inquisitor. I noticed when I picked him up, he literally had like 5 or 6 conversations that I could have triggered at once. But I tried to slow that roll down. So I'd like go and do a couple things and come back and talk to him and so on and so forth. So that is something to bear in mind. Some companions will just have a lot at once, and it's up to you to pace it if that's something that you are worried about completing it all too soon kind of thing. So from there are a few other tidbits of information I wanted to let you guys know about companions. Your companions' inventory, so like their armor, their weapons, anything that you give them as of the 4.0 update is literally nothing but cosmetics. So because your influence ups how much damage they do and how effective they are overall, giving them armor and weapons doesn't do anything, that you don't need to gear them up or anything like that. So if you don't like their base armor, for sure, give them something new. There are, for subscribers, different options, different cosmetics that you can pick up. I know a few of just the base game storyline for your class will give you, for like initial characters and stuff like that, different cosmetics or different alternate looks. I know the security key vendor that's available on either fleet also has a few different cosmetic changes for some of the companions, so you can check that out if that is something that you are interested in. But yeah, so don't worry about leveling them up gear wise or anything like that. Just make sure you're upping their influence. I have heard that the last companion that you picked up has the most to say, or like the most interesting things to say about a particular point in the story. So whenever you're doing a class story and doing cutscenes, now they'll have some things to say. Sometimes like they'll interrupt or anything like that. And supposedly the most recent companion that you picked up has the most to say and the best stuff to say. But for me, it's always going to be the love interest, because that's just the way I like to play. But that is something to bear in mind if you want to make sure you're having plenty of time with everybody. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention is if you are returning to SWTOR and you hadn't played like since before the 4.0 update, companions don't have designated DPS, tank, or heal anymore. So every companion can tank, DPS, and heal. And I showed you in that character screen, you can change it there, or you can change it on the fly over their little picture icon in the bottom left of your screen. So that is something to be aware of. If you really like traveling with so-and-so and you want them to be a heal, but they're normally a tank, don't worry, you can change it. And I have noticed every single companion that I've picked up by default has been a healer. So make sure if you want them to tank or DPS for you, that you are changing it as you need. But that pretty much sums up the companions overall. So to just a quick like 2-second sum up, it's going to be more than 2 seconds, but you know what I mean. Companions, your influence level with them, all that's going to do is up how powerful they are and how effective they are in combat. So you want to make sure that the companion that you're traveling with the most has the highest influence with you, so then that way you are getting the most out of them. You don't need to gear them up unless you want to change how they look cosmetically, because the gear doesn't do anything, because that's what the influence level does. And to trigger cutscenes with companions and have some one-on-one time with them, that is all based off of where you've progressed in the story. So you want to make sure you're returning to your ship so you can know who out of your companions has something to say to you. But y'all, I hope that this helped if you were having any trouble with companions or didn't exactly know how it worked. Leave it down in the comments below if you have any questions, or I do stream SWTOR at least once a week, and I am always happy to help when and where I can. But I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night and or day, depending on where you are in the world, and I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.